Welcome to the McKnight Center, and thank you for joining us on Center Stage. During this series, we invite you to learn alongside us as we take a closer look at the performing arts, guest artists, and so much more. We encourage you to keep on learning and to create your own fun at home. Today, we have April Golliver-Mohiuddin and Megan Barth Argo from Greenwood School of Music, and Robbin Davis, Director of Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. Soon, we'll be learning more about their upcoming series, Prelude to Justice, but first, let's join April as she takes center stage and shares with us He Will Gather Us Around, music by Jake Heggie and lyrics by Terrence McNally.
He will gather us around, all around. He will gather us around. By and by, you and I, all around him, all around him, gather us
I'm here with April, Megan, and Robbin, who are working together to present the learning series Prelude to Justice. And we're going to just chat with them a little bit more about each of them, and we want to hear more about the series and how it came to be. So, April, you have been here at OSU for a while and are a stronghold in the vocal department. So tell us a little bit more about you and your roles. And then, Megan, how do you coordinate into Greenwood School of Music as well?
Yes, my name is April Golliver-Mohiuddin, and I am professor of music in the Greenwood School of Music. I am actually an Oklahoma native. Some of you may have heard of Lucene, Oklahoma, very small rural town. And so I have grown up in this region of Oklahoma, and I currently teach voice, co-direct the OSU Opera, and also work with the students in vocal pedagogy class.
And Megan, what are your roles specifically?
So I came to OSU in 2017 as a guest music director for the theater department, and then a role was developed for me in opera as music director and opera coach in 2018. And so I've really enjoyed being essentially co-director with April and with Steve Sanders. And so I coach the students on diction, on style, music direct the operas, and help with the vision of the growing opera program.
And we have Robbin Davis, who we are happy to be with us. And you now have learned that she is the director of the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. But what our viewers may not know is, what is OLLI, or the Osher Lifelong Institute?
Well, the OLLI program is at OSU is one of 125 other OLLIs at colleges and universities across the United States. And we all have the same mission, which is to present educational programming to those who are 50 and older. And so the OSU program has been around for about 15 years, and I've been the director for 2.
We're together today, though, because you have an upcoming series, Prelude to Justice. So tell us a little bit of a brief overview of what that series is going to look like.
All right, well, the series will take place starting the end of July and running through the month of August, ending with a voice recital that Megan and I will be presenting on August 28th. Throughout the series, we will focus on music and its relationship and connection to the topic of criminal justice reform. So the first week we will introduce Sister Helen Prejean, the author of Dead Man Walking, and she's going to talk with all of the members of this wonderful event. Week 2, we will view Dead Man Walking. Week 3, I'm most passionate about because it will involve a panel discussion on criminal justice reform, specifics like wrongful convictions and the biases behind convictions, and include some amazing guests that you will learn about later. Then we have a guest from psychology joining Megan and I and talking about music and basically the arts in general and how they can help people during difficult times and the connectionship of the healing that transpires through music and the arts. And then we will close with Sister Helen joining us again to have a Q&A that's open to everyone that participates in the class. So they'll get that one-on-one with Sister Helen and end with the recital.
My next question is, I understand the connection between April and Megan, and I can even understand the connection between OLLI and Greenwood School of Music, but Robbin, how did the connection come to be with such a heavy topic? How did that come to be?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, our OLLI students really like to dig into something important and impactful and educational. And one day I got this wonderful phone call from a lady named April, and one of our OLLI students, who happens to be a friend of April's, connected the two of us. And very quickly, April and I realized that we were going to get into a lot of good trouble because we hit it off like peas and carrots. And so April introduced the Sister Helen, the Dead Man Walking opera to me, which I did not know existed. I'm, of course, a fan of the movie and a fan of Sister Helen. And so we just started having these conversations that blossomed into this marvelous program that has turned into Prelude to Justice.
Sometimes that's the happy accidents of life, or
Yes.
the collaborations that you didn't know needed to happen. And so sometimes you think about those happy collaborations, and it makes me think of Sister Helen, her work inspiring the compositions of Jake Heggie, and then even the lyrics by Terrence McNally. Tell me, what's the importance of Jake's work being a part of this series?
You know, it's interesting because Jake Heggie, I think, you know, people know him so much now, particularly because of the opera. And one thing I hadn't known until I had done more research, because I had the pleasure of working with Jake Heggie back in 2014 at Songfest, and actually coached this journey with him and several other pieces of his music. But he had been a pianist and a composer, and because of an injury, he had stopped. And so he ended up taking a PR position with San Francisco Opera, kind of taking a different route with his career. And he had met, of course, you know, Renee Fleming, Frederica von Stade, and he told them a little bit about his previous life and showed them some music, and they said, "Oh, we want to perform this music. We want to work with you." And the director of the opera actually said, "Okay, I can see you as a stage composer, and I can see you composing opera and productions. So I'm going to connect you with Terrence McNally." And so that was the beginning of Jake's career. That's what launched it. And he and Terrence had gone through a big list of options for this project, and Dead Man Walking was number one. And, you know, it actually, Jake talks about how he kept going down the list, and then Jake said, "No, you can stop. I know exactly what I want to do." And so, of course, he connected with Sister Helen, and Sister Helen had told him, "I do not want anything that's atonal. I want it to be something that's accessible and beautiful and visceral for the audience."
I've gotten a chance to look at some of the lyrics, and from this journey, it's not so much that this whole learning series or even Sister Helen's experiences is really a question of morality. It's more of embracing mortality and then even bringing humanity to all of our lives in general. Do you feel like, is that a good interpretation of some of those lyrics?
Yes, I totally agree with what you've just said. When I started this project, actually, I was on sabbatical and I had planned to do artist in residencies at several universities, but due to COVID, I was not able to go and visit other university programs. And so at that point, I started really thinking about what are some things that I'm seeing through the TV, through my students. And what I'm getting at is with COVID, there was an increase with a lot of depression, anxiety issues. On top of that, we had the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter things going on the news. And then, of course, we can't forget the election. And being honest, there was a lot of hate between both parties towards one another. And so for me, not only discussing what you just mentioned, but realizing that I felt we needed hope. We needed to come together and talk about things that are often hidden under the carpet, and unify our citizens of the state of Oklahoma. Because as a native of Oklahoma, there's a lot of great things. But it seemed like with the COVID and all of the things that were happening in the media and the news, I felt that Sister Helen would help us come together and find a peace and empower us to move forward in a new direction post-COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. So one word that stood out to me is you mentioned hope. And so that makes me want to ask each of you ladies, if there was one word that you could pinpoint as an objective for any of the attendees or participants in this series, what would that one word be, Robbin?
Catalyst.
Probably forgiveness.
Love.
And I'm going to go ahead and throw out there healing.
Yes.
Because there's a healing aspect in the entire series and through the works of Sister Helen and Jake Heggie, and even through some of those lyrics and poems. So I'm excited to be a part of this project and to see the series unfold. I think it has some meaningful conversations, and hopefully we can really have rich conversations and dialogue in the moment. So thank you each for joining me, April, Megan, and Robbin. Prelude to Justice will run Thursdays beginning July 29th through August 26th and concluding with a special recital featuring April on Saturday, August 28th. Registration for Prelude to Justice will open for OLLI members on Tuesday, July 6th, and the following week for the general public, Monday, July 12th. Again, a special thank you to each of you ladies, and another special thank you to each of you, our viewers, patrons, and advocates. Keep an eye out for our next installment, and until then, keep creating at home.